Hello and welcome back. It is so nice to be able to make another video for you in my new beautiful space. I moved in with my boyfriend Matt, and so I will have to say that we could have more animals on camera than before. So before we had my two cats, Millie and Stella, and now we will have a dog, Maisie, and she'll be popping in and out, I'm sure, just like the cats are. Stella and Maisie are both off camera right now, so I'm sure they'll make an appearance, but welcome back. It's so good to be back with you. I apologize for the long wait. I had to work on a few things. I have a fancier tripod now that's a little difficult sometimes, and a busy schedule, but I created some space in my schedule. I no longer teach at a health club, and as sad as that makes me, it makes me feel good to know that I can still provide yoga classes to you via video. Maisie is barking and it's distracting. So let's get started. All right, so come to hands and knees. Bring your wrists underneath your shoulders, outer shoulder width apart, knees underneath hips. Take an inhale in your flat back position. As you exhale, round your spine. Drop your head, tuck your tailbone, and press the floor away from you. When you inhale, drop your belly, lift your head and hips for cow pose. And as you exhale, round again, and just move between cat-cow with your breath, finding any other movements that your body may need. If you do something on one side, even it out, do it on the other. And don't forget, the most important part of your practice is your breath. So keep breathing no matter where you are. From here, if you're able to rotate your wrists 180 degrees, go ahead and do so. If not, just turn them 90 degrees. Inhale, lift your right leg back behind you. Point your toe, firm your abdomen. Maybe send your gaze forward. And really feel the firmness in your thigh, your glutes, and your hamstrings. As you exhale, come back down. Second side, inhale. Really point your toes. And then rotate so that your pinky toe is closer to the floor. Not closer this way, just that way. Exhale, bring it back down. Bring your hands back forward. Take an inhale in your flat back position again. Exhale, round your spine, but this time bring your right knee to your nose and squeeze your heel up to your hip. Really press the floor away from you, arching in your spine, and keep squeezing for one more breath. Exhale, bring it back down. Take another inhale, flat back. Exhale, round. Squeeze left heel to left hip, knee to nose. Keep the rounding in your spine. And exhale, bring it back down. Now bring your toes together. Your knees can be as wide as your mat, or they can be together. Send your hips back, walk your arms forward for child's pose. Take a few deep breaths here. And then walk your hands back. Bring your knees together. Lift up on your hips and curl your toes under. Have a seat back on your heels. If that's too much, you can lean forward to relieve some of that pressure. And then inhale, lift your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, flip your palms, stretch straight up to the ceiling. Now, as you do this, notice if your back wants to arch. If you want to do this, see if you can pull your ribs back, straighten your spine, and keep expanding up. Take another breath. As you exhale, release the clasp of your hands, but bring your hands shoulder width apart, facing each other. Lift up onto your knees and step your left knee forward and bend forward so that your knee is on top of your ankle. From here, you can keep your back knee down or curl your toes under, lift your back leg. Keep extending your fingertips up. Keep the lift in your chest, and think about gently pulling back your right hip. I'm used to mirroring my students. So pull back that right hip, send your left hip forward so that your hips are square to the wall in front of you. One more breath. As you exhale, back knee down to the mat, front foot back, step your right foot forward, hinge forward, knee on top of ankle. And again, you can leave that back knee down or curl your toes under, lift up and reach up. Keep pulling your belly button towards your spine, and then think about pulling that left hip back, right hip forward, just a minor adjustment so your hips are square. One more breath here. And as you exhale, frame your front foot with your hands, step back into plank pose. We're going to hold plank for a few moments. Remember, you can always take plank on your knees, so do what's best for your body. You want a diagonal line from your shoulders to your hips to your heels. If your legs are straight, if they are straight, firm your thighs. Press the floor away from you and enjoy. As you exhale, bend your knees, send your hips up and back, find your way to downward facing dog. In your down dog, warm it up. So maybe you want to warm it up by pushing your hips back and stretching your heels closer to the mat. Or maybe you want to bend one knee and then straighten the other, moving your hips from side to side for a down dog jog. Just like we did in tabletop, whatever you do on one side, do the same on the other. Now tilt your hips closer to the ceiling or the sky. Send your chest a little closer to your mat. Take a deep breath here. As you exhale, rock your body forward back to your plank pose. Check to make sure your feet are where you want them. You want your shoulders above your wrists. Firm in your abdomen again. As you exhale, bend your elbows back. Lower all the way down to your belly. Bring the tops of your feet to the floor. Touch your legs together. Squeeze them together. Imagine they're one unit. They've been zipped up. Now take your hands, interlace them behind your back. Walk your arms down your back. Squeeze your shoulders together. Send your chin forward. Inhale, lift your torso. Lift your arms. Lift your legs. Continue to squeeze. Continue to breathe. See if you can lift a little bit more. And as you exhale, release. Come down. Place your shoulders above your wrists. So place your wrists underneath your shoulders. Separate your feet hip width. Curl your toes under. Press up in a plank pose. And then again, bend your knees. Send your hips up and back. Back to your downward facing dog. Now take a breath. As you exhale, walk your feet forward just a few inches to shorten your stance. Stretch your heels closer to the mat. And now take your right hand and grab onto your left calf. Twist in your torso. Your armpit should end up underneath your left. Your head should end up underneath your left armpit. Oh, we have to laugh. Being on camera makes me nervous. Fun fact. All right, back to center. And then switch. Left hand to right calf. Your head will end up underneath your right armpit. Take a breath. And come back to center. Now walk your feet back to your regular down dog stance. Maybe pedal it out again. On your next inhale, send your right leg up and back for three-legged dog. Stretch it out. Press your left heel closer to the mat. As you exhale, bend your knee, step forward between your hands for a lunge. Now, in your lunge, you want your knee on top of your ankle. Take your back heel and spin it down so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Make sure your front heel is in line with your back arch. And then bring your right hand inside your right foot. Walk your hands off your mat at a diagonal, shoulder width apart, and bow your head. Down dog lunge. Press down on the outer edge of your back foot and all four corners of your front foot. Open your right knee out to the right just a tiny bit more for one more breath. And then as you exhale, walk your hands back to frame your front foot. Lift your back heel. Step back to downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, left leg up and back. Point your toes, stretch your right heel closer to the mat. As you exhale, bend your knees, step forward. Check your alignment. Take your back heel, spin it down, and then walk your left hand inside your left foot, over to the side at a diagonal, bowing your head. One more breath here. As you exhale, walk your hands back to center. Lift your back heel first, then step back to downward facing dog. I have mosquitoes that are trying to bite my ankles. It's the beauty of practicing in nature. Take a breath. Exhale, bring your knees down to your mat. Walk your hands back underneath you. As you inhale, lift your right arm up. Really, really reach it. As you exhale, bring it down. Thread it through your hand. And then with your left hand, you can walk it forward, or you can lift it up, back behind you for a bind. If you do the bind, you can tuck your hand between your torso and your thigh. Take another breath here. And then place your left hand back where it was, right hand back underneath you. Inhale, left arm up. And exhale, bring that arm down, thread it through. Same thing, choose what you want to do with that right arm. Bring your right hand back underneath you. Press yourself back up through tabletop. And then come back onto your heels again, this time so that you can stand up. Just make your way to standing however works for you. Bring your feet together. Inhale, lift your arms out in front of you. Exhale, hinge in your knees, sit back in your hips. Reach your fingertips forward, firm in your abdomen. Feel free to stay here, upright in stage one, or you can round your spine, bring your head to your knees, reach a little farther. Wherever you are, tone your thighs together, reach your fingertips forward, round that spine if that's what you're choosing to do. Take one more breath. As you exhale, fold forward. Do this however you like, which means you can bend your knees so your ribs and thighs touch and press the floor away from you. You can straighten your legs, grab opposite elbows, maybe swing from side to side. Just let it all go. Place your hands on your shins. As you inhale, lift halfway, stretching your head away from your hips in a flat back position. As you exhale, slide back down. And then bend your knees, bring your arms with you, lift all the way up. As you exhale, bring your arms down by your sides. Take a mountain pose. Extend your fingertips below you, pulling your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe go within, take a breath, find some gratitude. And now, come back to the back of your mat, facing the front of your mat. We're going to step our right foot forward into our lunge. Inhale, lift our arms. You're going to take your right hand, grab your left wrist, side bend towards your front knee. So even if you started with the left side, sway your body towards that front knee. Back through center, arms down. Exhale and step back. Inhale, left foot forward. Find that lunge, knee on top of ankle. Inhale, lift your arms. And then grab your right wrist, side bend to the left, or whichever direction your front knee is facing. Come back through center. Exhale, frame your front foot. Step back into plank pose for another moment. We're going to firm up here. You really want to round in your upper spine. And as you exhale, bend your elbows back, lower all the way down. Again, tops of feet together. This time your hands are going to go to your temples, your fingertips to your temples, elbows pointed out. Inhale. You can start with just lifting your torso, sending your elbows out. You're still going to get a stretch in your low back. Or if you want the full version, inhale, lift legs and torso. Just like before, point your toes, squeeze your thighs together like they're one unit. As you exhale, lower back down. Awesome. Take your hands, place them underneath your shoulders, curl your toes under, feet hip width apart again. Press yourself up through plank. Bend your knees, send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, send your right leg up and back. As you exhale, bend your knees, step forward, back to your lunge. Again, spin that back heel down, and now lift your torso just so you can place your right elbow on your right knee. Lift your left arm up and across your face for extended side angle. Keep reaching your top arm up and over to feel a great stretch all the way down your side body. If you're able to do the full version of the pose, or if you have a block, you can place your block underneath your hand and do it this way, or maybe you can place your hand on the mat. As you exhale, bring your top arm up, straighten your front leg, send your hips back. Maybe place your hand on your shin for triangle pose. You want your front leg pretty straight, so if you can do that and reach your ankle, that's great. Or if you want to place your hand on the mat or a block, that's also great. Press down on both heels and think about dragging them together. As you exhale, bring your top arm down and take a reverse mudra. So first, bend a little in your front knee. Take your back foot, hop it over to the side at a diagonal, and then re-straighten that front leg. If you're not able to access the floor or your mat, grab onto your shin, surrender the weight of your head. Now bend again into your front knee. Take your back foot back to your runner's lunge, and then frame your foot with your hands, step back to downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, bend your knee, step forward. Back heel, spin it down, and then lift on up. Left, I'm gonna switch for you. Left elbow to left knee, right arm up and across your face. Really, really reach. Make sure your shoulder is away from your ear. So push it down onto your back. And then lift your top arm, send your hips back, straighten your front leg, maybe grab onto your shin or your ankle or the mat, or place your hand on a block underneath you. You can look up at your top hand, stretch out your neck. As you exhale, top arm down, bend a little in your left knee, take your right foot, gently hop it to the side at a diagonal. You want both heels on the mat. Then straighten your legs, sending your hip back. Bow to your front leg. From here, bend your left leg a little. Walk your hands to the center, and then position your feet so that you're in a wide stance. Toes in a straight line. And then bring your heels in line with your pinky toes. Now, if you need to bend your knees, if you're not able to access the floor, that's fine. Bend your knees as much as you can to place your hands on the floor underneath your shoulders. From here, maybe you straighten, maybe not. Maybe you stay here in your flat back position, or maybe you walk your hands back between your feet, bow your head, round your spine, maybe send your hips forward. Maybe your head grazes the mat. Don't place too much weight on it. Or any weight. Don't place any weight. Send your hips back if they were forward. If your hands were back, walk them forward. Bend your knees. Place your hands on your thighs one at a time. Lift yourself up. And then take your heels, turn them in one turn. Toes are out, heels are in. Bend into your knees for a squat. Make sure your spine is straight. You want a straight spine here, torso lifted. You can place your hands in prayer position in front of your heart. Take a breath here. Maybe add some movement. If your torso is leaning forward, see if you can notice. Can you pull yourself back? Maybe think about opening your knees a little bit. One more breath. And inhale, come on up. Bring your arms down by your sides. Turn your left heel out so that it's again in line with your pinky toe, and then turn your right toes out 90 degrees. So front heel in line with back arch. Bend into your knee. Open up through your heart chakra. Send your arms to either side. Turn your head. Gaze over your right fingertips. Press down on the outer edge of your left foot and all four corners of your right foot. Keep your torso lifted, shoulders together on your back, and maybe open your right knee to the right just a little bit. Exhale, lower your arms, straighten that right leg. Turn your right foot parallel to the short edge of your mat. Turn your left toes out 90 degrees. Bend into your left knee. Again, open up through your heart, arms out to either sides. Gaze over your left fingertips. Think about pulling your belly button closer to your spine, pressing down on the outer edge of your right foot, and then opening your left knee to the left a tiny bit more. As you inhale, come on up, turn your feet, heel toe them together, and we will take a power pose. So bring your feet together, inhale, lift your arms up overhead, exhale, bend into your knees, sit back in your hips, pull your belly button closer to your spine, breathe. We're going to transition from power pose to diver's pose. So as you're ready, when you exhale, bring your arms down and back behind you. I'm going to turn to the side. Then come forward onto your toes, so the balls of your feet. Squeeze your shoulders together. This takes practice. Squeeze your shoulders together. Keep lifting your hands back behind you. Keep stabilizing on your toes for one more breath. Inhale, come up, and then lift your arms up overhead. Place your weight into your left foot. Lift your right knee. Thigh parallel to the floor. Breathe. As you exhale, see if you can place your foot on top of your opposite thigh. Sit into a squat as you bring your hands in prayer position. Maybe sit a little deeper. Don't forget to breathe. As you inhale, lift your arms again. Come back to your one-legged Tadasana. And exhale, lower back down. Second side. Inhale, lift your left knee. Lift your arms. Try and find that focal point in front of you for balance. Keep engaging your abdomen, strong core. And as you exhale, place that foot on your opposite leg. Bring your hands together in prayer position. Sit deep as you can in your squat. Do keep your front foot flexed to protect that knee. Maybe sit a tiny bit deeper. Inhale, come on up. One-legged Tadasana again. Exhale, bring it back down. All right, let's all bring it back down to the mat. Bring the soles of your feet to touch. Doesn't matter if they're close to your hips or far away. Just bring them to touch and sit up as tall as you can. So imagine there's a string pulling your head straight up. Your spine is straight and spacious. Those vertebrae have room to breathe. Take a deep breath as you sit up tall. As you exhale, you can stay upright or you can hinge forward, walking your hands forward, and bow your head. Walk your hands back. Now, send one leg out in front of you. I'm starting with my left. And then cross your opposite leg, so my right leg, over top. Bring that heel outside of your opposite hip and just try to stack your knees. Don't worry if they're far apart. Definitely flex both feet. Again, sit up as tall as you can. Let's start with our arms lifted. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, and grab onto whatever part of your leg or your foot that you can, and then bow to your top knee. My book calls this holy cow pose. I like that. It's very casual and fun, lighthearted. Walk your hands back. Switch it out. So my left leg is on top now, left heel outside of right hip. I'm flexing my right foot and my left foot. Inhale, sitting up as tall as I can, lifting my arms. Exhale, hinge forward. And then I'm going to grab onto my foot because that's what I can grab. If it's really easy to grab your foot, another thing you can do is you can put a block in front of your foot to extend that fold. Of course, hang on to your shin or your ankle if your foot is not accessible to you. Walk yourself back. Send both legs out in front. Flex both feet. Maybe pull the flesh back from behind your hips if you have flesh behind your hips. Inhale, lift on up. Exhale, hinge forward. Grab onto whatever you can. Breathe in your forward fold. Walk your hands back. Scoot your hips forward. I'm going to go sort of at a diagonal. Pick up your right foot, place it on your left knee, and then pick up your left foot. Interlace your fingers through the hole you created. Gently pull the whole unit towards your chest. If you do so and your thigh starts to touch your elbow, use your elbow to press your thigh away from you. Take another moment of gratitude here. Think about what you have to be grateful for. As you exhale, release. Place both feet back on the mat and then pick up your left foot, place it on your right knee, lift your right foot and interlace in front of your hamstring. Gently pull closer to your face. Don't forget your breath. As you exhale, release. We're going to do one more pose and then we will set up for Shavasana. So in this pose, you can either bring your arms out to either side like a T, or you can make goalpost arms. You're going to bring your knees into your chest and then gently bring your knees over to one side underneath one elbow. This should be a really juicy twist in your torso. And then with control in your abdomen, bring your knees back through center. It's okay if you need to use your hands to guide your knees there. And then do the same thing on the opposite side, keeping those knees stacked, twisting in your torso. When you do this, notice if your opposite shoulder wants to lift off the mat. Mine is off the mat. I'm conscious of it, so I'm gently just going to think about pressing it down to keep opening up in my shoulders and twisting in my torso. Bring your knees back through center and now take your arms, wrap them around them, give yourself a hug. Thank yourself for taking the time to practice today. You took this time for yourself and now your cup is a little more full so that you can fill others when you go out into the world. If you'd like to pause the video to make your Shavasana as long as you like, please do so. Thank you for practicing with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.